This conference will now be recorded.
So hopefully my audio is completely clear actually today. So what I'm doing now is I'm about to share my screen, and please confirm if you're able to see it. So, okay, so I've just shared actually. So guys, is it visible?
Not yet. Not yet.
Is it now?
No.
Not yet.
Yeah.
It shows stop
Yeah,
sharing
it,
actually.
it, it came up here.
Perfect. Okay. So guys, yesterday what I've told you is like how do we install Playwright. So we'll do a small recap. So in case some of you who were not there, like if at all you really joined little late or something. So what we can do is what we did actually, we created a blank folder or an empty folder in my either Windows machine or my Mac machine, which is let's say Playwright dash sep6. You can give it any name. You can store it in C drive, D drive, downloads, documents, anywhere. Okay. And then you open the terminal. How do we open the terminal? Simply click on this terminal and new terminal. But how I really like to open terminal is even a very simpler option. Just press the control and the backtick key. Some of you who may not be aware of this backtick key. So this backtick key is like slanting codes just below the escape key. You have this backtick key. So I'm going to press control and backtick. See, it has opened the terminal, and I really like to use these shortcuts. So if I'm a pro in automation, it is expected that I should know these shortcuts. These are the most basic ones. Okay, so this is how I open the terminal. And what did I tell you yesterday? I told you how to install Playwright, because by default I won't see even a single folder. It will be completely empty. All I need to do is simply run this command npm init playwright @latest. I'm not going to run it because I already have Playwright on my machine. In your case, what you need to do is just run this command npm init playwright @latest. Don't worry about this npm. It stands for Node Package Manager, and it automatically comes, or it is downloaded automatically whenever you install Node.js. So, okay, so it comes automatically with Node.js. You don't have to install npm separately. So Node.js is for running JavaScript on my machine, while npm is for downloading any external or any third-party library from the internet onto my machine. So which is the third-party library I'm trying to install? It is Playwright. So I need to use npm. I will not use Node here. Okay, so the moment I hit this command, I will get this folder structure by default. Okay, so we'll start with some basics about Playwright, and then we'll jump on to JavaScript, and then we'll continue from our course. Okay, so this is like a small recap. Okay, so I've installed Playwright. So the very next thing is, this is the test folder. So all my Playwright tests is going to be inside this test folder only. And suppose if I create any test outside the test folder, it is not going to be allowed. Why? Because while creating this Playwright project, I specifically told Playwright that all my tests should be stored inside the test folder. And that is also one of the configuration property that I have inside the Playwright config.js. Okay, so as per the name itself suggests, this is the configuration file for Playwright. So any changes, any configuration that I want to make inside the Playwright, it has to be from one place. Even if I've never done any kind of coding before, it is very simple. Just open this file, go to this place, and just look at all these options. So this option, anyone can understand that all my Playwright tests should be inside this test folder. Now, in case if you're wondering what is this dot means this folder. In my case, in your machine, it will be your name, whatever name you have given. Suppose if one of you is Ankit, let's say your folder name is Ankit dash step 6. In your case, it will be Ankit dot dash 6. In my case, it is Playwright dash 6. Suppose if I use this particular name over here, it is going to work. The answer is yes. But the problem is, this is going to work only in my case if I'm hard coding my name, right? But I want this project to be running successfully on my machine, your machine, and all my colleagues' machines. So I want it to be generalized. I cannot give it my specific name. So the best option is use dot, which is going to work perfectly in my machine and your machine, because this dot is going to refer this root project name. Doesn't matter what it is. So when I'm working with a project, when I'm working in a team, I want to be consistent, guys. Okay, so this is about the test folder, which is very, very simple. And by default, don't worry, if even if things are not making sense at the moment, we'll talk about this in detail once we start with Playwright after covering the complete JavaScript. Okay, so the very first thing is, we see these projects. Okay, inside projects I see these things. Okay, let me hide the terminal. How do I hide the terminal? control and backtick again. It is simply going to hide it. Okay, so these are the three browsers that Playwright gives it to me by default. First is the Chromium browser, second one is the Firefox browser, third one is the WebKit browser. How do I run my tests on these browsers? Very simple. Again, open the terminal, simply type npx playwright and test. This is the command that we have to use to run all the test cases. As of now, how many test cases I have? Just go inside the test folder. We have only one specification file. So this spec file, it simply means all my test cases are going to be stored inside this spec file. So if I open it, how many test cases I have? One test case, because if you see this test word, which means one test case. You see this test again, it means it is a second test case, right? So how many tests I have? Two tests. So if I run this, ideally I should see two tests, right? But let me show you what happens. See, it is showing you something interesting. Running 6 tests using the 4 workers. Don't worry about these workers. These workers are like threads. If you're from Java or Selenium background, this is like a thread. But if you have never done coding before, don't worry. So what do you mean by 6 tests? Why it is showing 6 tests when I have only two? It is because I just showed you, right? This playwright.config.js, it has 3 browsers, and by default, what all browsers I see over here, Playwright is going to run my tests on all these browsers at the same time in parallel. That is why Playwright has this inbuilt parallelism actually. Okay, so how many browsers I have? One, two, and three: Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit. How many tests I have? Two tests exactly. So 2 into 3 is what? 6 tests. That is why Playwright is running 6 tests. But in real time, I will not be testing my scripts on all the browsers at the same time. This is only for cross-browser testing. But majority of times, I will be commenting out these browsers, and I'll be uncommenting them only if I'm specifically required to do cross-browser testing. But majority of times, I'll go with Chromium only. Why? Chromium is the most stable browser, just like Google Chrome. So whether you are learning Selenium or any automation tool, it is recommended that you start with Chrome or Chromium. Why? It is a most stable browser. Okay, so for now run my test. I'll not type the same command again. Simplest option is just use the up arrow key on your keyboard. See, I don't have to type this entire command. That is the benefit of using up arrow key, right? So what do I do? npx space playwright space test. I'll simply hit enter. Now it is going to show me how many browsers? Two browsers. But some of you might be wondering, Piyush is saying that we are running the tests, but how come the tests are running? We are not even seeing the browsers. Why? Is this magic? The answer is yes. Because by default, Playwright is going to run my test in the headless mode. Like I was explaining you yesterday, we have two modes. One is headless, second mode is headed mode, right? And in case if you guys, if you're really enjoying this conversation, please try to make down some notes, because the more notes you make, right, the more you'll will be able to recall and remember these concepts. Very, very important thing. Please make notes, otherwise you'll forget all this. Okay, so now if I want to see the browsers, what do I do? It is very simple thing. Just use a space over here and simply type dash dash headed and simply hit enter. This is something even a non-technical person can do. Why? Because it is so simple. And did you see, this time I saw the browsers, and by default, two Chromium browsers were opened because I have commented out Firefox and WebKit. So now my tests are not going to be running on Firefox and WebKit. Only they'll be running on Chromium browser, because that is what I'm telling. So this playwright.config file is like the heart of my Playwright framework. All the settings are derived from here. So I have to be careful what all settings I am using. Okay, so this is how we can execute the test. Right now, before jumping on to JavaScript, I really want to show you something interesting. So even if you've never used Playwright before, I'll show you how to create one basic test, which is very, very simple. All I have to do is simply go to this example.spec.js. Okay, and let me hide the terminal, control and backtick. So what do? I'll simply copy this test, and I'll create one more test, and I'll remove everything from here. Okay, so what do I want to do now is I want to do something which is interesting. So if okay, so what I'll do is I'll okay, just do one thing. Okay, so I'm even sharing my browser also. Inside my browser, if you see over here, what we need to do. Okay, some of you might have seen this website, which is Orange HRM, which it is kind of a dummy application but very popular. Okay, in the case of automation. So how do I open this? Very simple. Simply search on Google Orange HRM. orange HRM and then login. Okay, so you will land on this page, orange HRM. It is very simple. So what you need to do is I want to show you how easier it is to automate this login page, even if you have never done automation before. So how do I do? Simply copy this URL from here. And yeah, I'm not using Chrome browser. So that is why you will see this browser slightly different, because Chrome browser I use very rarely. Okay, so what I will do, I'll go to the Visual Studio Code and I'll simply replace it over here. Okay, so yeah, if you think that this particular section is not visible enough, what I need to do is I can simply click on this button and now I'll see a full screen view. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll even change the name of my test. I'll say my first test. So this is the name of my test case that I have to give. Don't worry about this async keyword. We'll talk about this in advanced JavaScript. This is called asynchronous programming. Forget about it for now. Okay. So even if you're a non-technical person, if you have never done coding before, this line seems pretty straightforward. On this page, I want to go to this page. Whatever is the URL that I want to pass, I want to go to this page. So Playwright commands are very English-like. Anyone can easily understand. It is that simple. Okay. Now, what I'll do is I'll do something like this. Await page dot pause. So what am I trying to say? Don't worry about this await keyword. Again, I'll teach you later on. For now, I'm saying that put a breakpoint here. Okay, so what I'll do is if I'll go to the terminal, if I run this particular test, for now, what will I do? I'm going to use a helper attribute called only. So if you remember that by default, Playwright is going to run all my tests. But if I want to run only a specific test, what I need to do, just add this helper attribute called only. It means now when I'm going to run this, I'll use the up arrow key again. So when I'm going to run this command, now Playwright is not going to execute all the tests. It is going to execute only those tests that have this helper attribute called only. So what do I do? I'll simply hit enter and make sure that this page.pause is only going to work if you are using this dash dash headed flag. If you don't use this dash dash headed flag, this line is kind of going to be ignored. So what I'm trying to tell you, so my test is going to be debug. So I'll show you something interesting now. So my application is opened. Okay, so you see there is a window called Playwright Inspector. We'll talk about it. So this Playwright Inspector is like a debug screen for Playwright. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to basically enter the username, I want to enter the password, and then I want to click on the login button through Playwright. That's it. I don't want to do anything else. Okay, so what I can do is, okay, the first thing that I can do is I want to validate the title of this page. What is the title of this page? It is Orange HRM. So how do I do? It is very simple. I can simply, okay, after opening the URL, I can write like this. Await expect. Don't worry about this await expect. So I'll simply write page dot to have title. Okay. So what is the title of this page? Orange HRM. Now again, notice that it is more of an English-like statement. Anyone can understand. On this page that I have just opened, I am trying to verify the title. What is the title? It is Orange HRM. See, it is so simple actually. This page should have this title, Orange HRM. That is how you can read it. Very, very, very simple. So all the Playwright assertions or expectations, whatever it is, they are quite simple. Okay. Now coming to this part, I want to automate username and password. What you'll do is you see this particular button called as pick locator. So this is basically designed for beginners who know nothing about coding, nothing about locating elements and all those things. Yeah, some of you who are from Selenium background, it is simple for you, but people who have never done coding before, this is for you. Simply click on this pick locator. And now you see I'll just bring my mouse on this field and it is going to show me a locator. Right. I'll just tell you on a very high level what is a locator. See, I'm a human, guys. If I look into a website, I know this is a text box. I know this is a text box. This is an image. This is a button. I know it. But when it comes to Playwright, is Playwright a human? No. Does Playwright have eyes? No. So how will Playwright understand whether it is a text box or if it is a button or if it is an image? It does this using some techniques which is called as locating techniques. We'll be talking about this in depth in the Playwright once we'll start. For now, I'm just giving you a very high level gist so that everyone should be able to at least run one test case to Playwright and get some confidence that Playwright is super simple. That is the thought process I'm trying to transfer. That Playwright is damn simple too. Okay, so just click here and the locator is copied here. Okay, how do I read it? It is very simple to read also. I'm looking for a text box that has the name of username. Is this username? Yes, simple. I'm looking for a text box that has this name. Simply copy this locator, go to the Visual Studio Code, and after this title, simply write like this: await page. And yeah, before any playwright command, we have to write like this: await of page. Don't worry, I'll tell you this in later. But for now, just understand we have to do this. Now, this is just the locator. I want to type something into the text box. In Selenium, we have send keys. In Playwright, we have something called as fill method. What I want to fill, I just want to fill something which is, what is the username? It is admin. So I'll copy admin
Hi
and I'll
Piyush, sorry to disturb, but I guess your screen is again lagging. It's like you are just speaking ahead and screen is showing lag.
is it guys?
Is it just for me or other people are also seeing the same thing?
No, for me
Hi,
as
it
well.
was for me as well, yeah, but I thought it is for me only, so I haven't mentioned here. Yeah.
For
Is
me,
it
it's fine. It works fine.
It works fine for me.
Oh my God, I
Sure.
don't know actually. So, so it is like some, for some people it is fine, some people it is not. I'm not sure, guys, what is going on actually. But looks like my internet is pretty fast today. I've actually done so many things, watched so many YouTube videos and all those things. It was working perfectly fine. Maybe you can check your internet connection. I don't know actually. Shall I continue, guys?
Yes,
Hmm?
please.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
please.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
All right. So what I want to tell you is how easy and simple it is to automate my first test through Playwright. So same thing I just did for username, I'll do the same thing for password. Just click on this pick locator button and click on this password. The locator will be copied here. Don't worry if you're not able to understand these terms called inspector, locator. Just try to do this once. Okay, you will get this recording. Even if you don't get this recording, you know it. It is quite simple actually. Just copy this locator, go back to your Visual Studio Code and simply type await page dot and simply paste it. So how can I read it? I'm looking for a text box that has the name of password. Very simple. And these locators are even simpler than Selenium. In Selenium, we use driver.find element, right? But here in Playwright, we use this, which is very simple to read. So how do I type the password? The password is admin123. I think the password is this. Perfect. Now, all I want to do is I want to click on the login button. How do I do? Just click on this pick locator button. Again, you see, as I'm bringing my mouse, Playwright is suggesting me all the locators. So for beginners, it is very, very handy tool. Okay, so we don't get this in Selenium again. So simply bring the mouse on this button, and Playwright is telling me a very fantastic locator. It's a very solid locator in Playwright. I'll teach you this get by role in depth. For now, just understand how to read it. I'm looking for a button that has a name of login. How many buttons I have on this page that have a name of login? Only one button. So what do I
Excuse me,
do?
please.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so inspect button will not work here.
Please come again.
Inspect will not work here so that we can take the locators only.
Oh, yes, we can certainly do that. I'm just showing you a very basic technique. There are so many ways actually.
Okay,
Yes, yes, absolutely.
sure.
So, yeah. So what do I do? See, in the case of text box, I want to enter something. So I'll use the fill method. But in the case of button, what do we do with the button? Even somebody who has never automated before, what do we do with the button? We click on it, right, guys? Simply use the click method here. That's it. And the moment I click on it, right, so it should log in me in. Okay, so what do I do now? Very simple thing. Okay, so I'll close it. I'll simply do Control C here, and it's going to forcefully close my previous test. Control L to clear the terminal, up arrow key, and then I'll simply hit enter, and let us see the magic now. This is my first Playwright test. See, guys, and it has worked. I will suggest please do this part at least yourself. This should give you a lot of confidence that, oh my God, Playwright is very simple. I used to think that it might be tricky, but it is not. It is very, very, very simple. Right? You just want to do this. That's it. Nothing else. No verification, nothing. Even if you don't do this particular part, that is okay. Just open this page, right? Use the pick locator functionality. It will give you this locator. Use the fill method, type the correct username, correct password, click on the, use the click method, and that's it. So this is your first Playwright script. And this is something, please do it. This is your first assignment. This should give you a lot of confidence. Okay. So this is about Playwright installation recap, and we have basically done our first automation script with Playwright. Okay. Now, what do I do? How do I close it? Simply click on this continue button, and my test is done. Okay, so this is my first Playwright script. Now we're going to start with Node.js and VS Code. Okay, so some of you may remember that I have told you, so what is Node.js, what is JavaScript and all, right? So we'll do a very small recap. So Node.js is something which is similar to JRE. Like I need JRE or the Java runtime environment to run Java on my machine. Same thing. In order to run JavaScript on my machine, I need something called as Node.js. So Node.js is something I'll require to run JavaScript code outside the browser, because if I talk about my browser, I don't need Node.js also. So if I open the browser, I'll simply open this google.com or any browser here. All I do is simply right click, inspect. I can enter, I can run any JavaScript code here without having Node.js. Okay, so this is what I can do. But outside the browser, I need something which is Node.js. That's the first thing I want to do. Okay, so now I'll be talking about few more things in JavaScript. So before that, okay, and yeah, some of you actually have installed Node.js and VS Code. And if you are still not sure how to install VS Code and Node.js, what I'll do is I'll share a PDF document with you guys. You can just refer to it. It is very, very simple. Whether you're on Windows or Mac machine, this is like a prerequisite. Without installing Node.js, you cannot run JavaScript outside the browser. Even in VS Code, you'll not be able to run all this, right? I'm able to run all this because I'm already having Node.js. And the second prerequisite is you should have something called as VS Code. Okay, now I'll be showing you some very powerful extensions, so basic settings that you should do in the case of VS Code. Okay, so the first thing what you want to do is, you see this particular icon, this is the extensions icon over here. Just come over this extensions icon, right? And the first extension that you want to install is use Code Runner by Jonan. It is a very, very popular extension actually. Okay, so the button that you see over here, this play button, it is because of this Code Runner extension only. It's a very handy extension. What you need to do, click on this extensions icon, type here Code Runner by Junhan, and you will see this particular icon. In my case, I've already installed it, so it is showing me uninstall. In your case, it will be installed. Just click on the install button. It will take 10-15 seconds and you should be done. And afterwards, you should be able to see this play icon over here. That will tell you this run code icon. That will tell you, it's like a confirmation that your Code Runner extension is actually done. And second thing, you need to understand about VS Code, that VS Code is actually a free editor. It is lightweight and very powerful, and majorly all the JavaScript developers use this VS Code editor only. So this is called as IDE, integrated development environment. Now if I want to run JavaScript, I can run my JavaScript code even in Notepad also, right? Nobody is stopping me. But did you see why I'm using this IDE? Okay, let me tell you. If I simply type page, do you see something? If I simply type dot, I see this suggestion box. So many suggestions are coming. I will not get any of these suggestions or any helper things in the case of Notepad. That is why, in order to make my programming life easier and faster, we all use something called as an IDE, integrated development environment. Like in Java, we use Eclipse or maybe IntelliJ. In JavaScript, we use something called as VS Code, because it is going to make my programming life a lot faster and a lot more convenient. Okay, so this is why we use VS Code. So another extension that you would like to do is, now notice something guys. If you see over here, do you see these colorful icons? In my case actually, some of you may be having some very, very basic icons, right? So you see, so these are very colorful icons. So if you want to customize your VS Code properly, what you can do is you can install some themes. So I'm just showing you some basic stuff that you can do. Okay, so in this case, you can install this material icon theme by Philip Kaif. Okay, simply come over here and click on this install, and it is material icon theme by Philip Kaif. Please install this extension. Okay, so this is a pretty handy extension, and after you will install this extension, it will ask you which particular theme you want to use, right? So like I'm very comfortable with the black theme, but if you're not a black theme kind of a person, and if you're, let's say, interested in white theme, right? Like some of you like maybe want to go with white theme, in that case you can go with the white theme, totally up to you guys. Okay, so this is something which is extremely important. Third extension that is quite handy is live server extension. So these are some very important things that you should have as a part of your VS Code. Okay, so this live server extension by Ritvik Day. Okay, again, you will have this install button over here. So please install it. I hope you are making some notes, or else you will get this recording. Well, everything will be crystal clear. So please do this initial setup before actually starting with the VS Code. Okay, and then we have some more extensions, but for Playwright, yeah, we need one more extension which is called as Playwright extension by Microsoft. Okay, so if I'll simply write Playwright, so do you see this extension, Playwright Test for VS Code? This is a must-have extension. And if you see this blue tick over here, it is actually developed by Microsoft. Okay, so this is an extension you must have. After installing this extension, you will get this particular additional button called as this testing button over here. This is a must-have. So these are the 3 or 4 extensions that you should do. Okay, so anything else? Okay, and yeah, one important thing actually, after installing these extensions, right, sometimes you may get some issues or something like this. What you can do, simply press Command Shift and P on your VS Code and simply type over here reload. Okay, in case if you're getting some weird errors or something, just simply do Command Shift and P. Okay, on Mac, but on Windows you do Control Shift and P and simply type developer and reload window. Okay, and it is going to refresh your VS Code like this. Okay, so this is a pretty handy setting actually. So this particular part is done. Okay, and then we are going to start with the second part that we were with numbers. Any further questions? Anything you want to ask me before I move on?
One question, Piyush.
Yeah, please.
When I do dot run, it is not giving me option to install. It is not showing anything.
Dot run. Which run you're talking about exactly?
The first extension that you showed.
You mean okay that code run extension?
Yeah,
Okay, just a sec. So okay, did you click on this code runner and did you install it?
code runner. Just
Yeah.
give me a second. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and guys, please feel free to ask me questions. Like, don't worry. Like, don't think that anyone will ever judge you or something. Is my question silly or not? No question is silly. If something is not clear, that is not a silly question. As simple as that. Period. Okay.
Please,
So,
Krishna,
yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, how to open Playwright Inspector, please?
Okay. Yeah, and guys, please, I'm not recognizing your voices yet. So whenever you are asking me a question, please introduce yourself also. Okay. Otherwise, I'll have to keep on asking. What's the name? Yeah, please tell me. Yeah,
Yes,
what's the
please,
name?
Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna,
Okay.
Krishna here.
Yeah. So Krishna, okay, what you need to do is, right. So in order to get this Playwright Inspector, just write this line, await page.pause. This is the first thing. And afterwards, when you're running your Playwright command, make sure you are having this dash dash headed. Without having this dash dash headed, you will not see Playwright Inspector. So in order to see Playwright Inspector, you need this and this dash dash headed. If you'll remove one of them, you will not see Playwright Inspector. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, guys. So we are going to start with JavaScript basics now. So we have done some basic stuff about Playwright, but in depth, we'll be starting with Playwright once we are done with all the basic JavaScript concepts. Okay. So what I'll do over here is, do you see? I just clicked here, somewhere here, and you see this blue boundary. What I'll do is I'll simply click on the second button, which means create a folder, and I'll create a folder called JavaScript. So all my files I'll write inside this JS folder. Again, you see this colorful icon, it is because of these themes. Okay, so you may not see these themes initially if you have not installed these themes, but it's up to you whether you want to go or that basic one is also fine. So what I'll do is I'll create a file. Okay, so now any JavaScript file, suppose if you're a beginner, just understand that any JavaScript file if you'll create, it should end with an extension called .js. And notice that it shows you this JS icon also, and even at the bottom you see this JavaScript. Okay, so it clearly tells you that this is a JavaScript file, right? And now if you see, my view is quite shorter actually. What do? I'll go to the terminal, control and backtick to hide the terminal. I can close all these tabs and I can close, yeah. Okay, so the first thing that we'll learn is we'll talk about the primitive types in JavaScript, guys. Guys, I'll request you please mute yourself so that it should not impact anyone. Okay, thank you. So primitive types in JavaScript. So unlike in Java, we have different primitive types, but in JavaScript, these are the primitive types in JavaScript. Okay, please write this down. Okay, so what? Oh yeah, before I'll talk about this, you see these two forward slashes. So these two forward slashes is basically like a comment. It means I'm telling my VS Code to ignore these lines because this is an English line. JavaScript does not understand all this. So this is just for my understanding. But if I don't use it, suppose if I write my name now, Piyush Gupta or something, you see it is throwing an error. It does not know what is Piyush, what is this Gupta, right? But the moment I do control and forward slash on Windows and command slash on Mac, it has commented it. So this is a very helpful thing. Okay, so and I can create a multi-line comment like this. So simply use forward slash and then star and then star and then forward slash, and anything I'll write in between is going to be ignored by JavaScript. Okay, so these are the primitive types that we're going to learn. The first one is, please make notes, which is number. Second one is string. Third one is boolean. Fourth one is null. And fifth one is undefined. So these are the 5 primitive types in JavaScript. When I say primitive types, what does it mean? Suppose if I have some data can be a number like this, data can be a name like a string, which is this, data can be a Boolean value, which is true or false. Now, how do I classify this data? This number is not string. I can store this data as a number. That is the meaning of data type. So when I say primitive types, it is also called as data types. In India we call data, in US or some countries they say data. Okay, so data whatever. So this 10 is actually a number. This, which is my name inside double quotes or single quote, it is actually a string, and this value which is true is a boolean. Then we have 2 more data types in JavaScript, which is null and undefined. Technically there are 2 more, which but we don't use them very frequently, but I'm still telling you. Okay, so what are these data types? Symbol and begin. Begin is for very, very bigger numbers, very large numbers. But majority of times, 99% times, we will not use these two. But still, we should know. Okay. So these are the data types. And then yesterday I started with numbers. So I've told you yesterday, any number in JavaScript, how do I represent? 50 is a number, 7 is a number, 4.5 is also a number. Because in Java, this is not an int actually. It is basically a float or a double. But in JavaScript, whether it is a floating point number or whether it is a whole number, they are all come under this one data type, which is called as numbers. Okay. So, and yesterday I even showed you, right? JavaScript has a precision point for what? It has a precision of 16 digits. Beyond 16 digits, if I try to go, JavaScript loses the precision. So JavaScript is also having some issues, some drawbacks. Okay, and then we can perform some simple operations like I was showing you yesterday. We can perform mathematical operations and all those things. We'll talk about this in operators, but yesterday I've shown you one specific operator which is called as modulus. Some people even call it remainder operator. What is this operator for? Suppose if I want to find out if a number is even number or an odd number, the very simple thing is simply try to divide that number by 2 and find out. So in this case, I will not use this division operator, which is forward slash. I'll use this modulus or the remainder operator, which is not going to give me the quotient. It is going to give me the remainder. So what is the remainder if I try to divide 5 by 2? The answer is 1. So can I say that now 5 is actually an odd number? So there are a lot of programming quizzes and assignments wherein you want to find out if a number is odd number or even number. There, in those places, you can definitely use this percentage sign or the modulus sign. Okay. And then I showed you yesterday we have something called as exponentiation operator, which is represented by 2 star keys. How do I use? Very, very simple. I can use 5 star star 2. How do I read this? I am saying 5 to the power of 2. How do I run this? In Java, we have system.out.println. In JavaScript, right? If I want to print something in the output, what do I do? Simply use console.log. So this console.log is same as system.out.println of Java. How do I run this code? Right. So now something interesting that I want to show you now. So let me do one thing. Now, in order to run this JavaScript, what do I do? I'll go to the terminal and I'll clear the terminal. I'll do Control and L. I'll remove this code. And then how do I run it? Very simple. Simply type node space the name of the file. The name of the file is 1.js. But is it going to work? The answer is no. Because I'm on which location? I'm on this folder, which is Playwright step 6. I'm on the root folder, but the file is here. I cannot run this file from this location. What I need to do is I need to traverse or travel to this location. How do I do? Simply do js forward slash 1.js. Now it is going to work. You see the output, which is 25, so which is 5 square. Everything else is commented, so JavaScript has ignored all of it. Okay, so I hope you must have started to understand JavaScript is not difficult actually. It is quite simple, and for me it is quite exciting. Even though I've taught it so many times, hundreds and hundreds of times, but still I feel it is very exciting, very easy to learn, unlike Java. Somehow, please don't mind it, guys, if you're from Java background. I'm not saying Java is bad. I think JavaScript is very simpler to understand. If I'm a beginner, I will go with JavaScript. Okay, then Java. Okay, so this is how we can do. But I hope you remember that we just installed an extension called as Code Runner by Junhan. But in this case, what I need to do, I need to open the terminal, type this command and do all this. But this is a slight hassle, guys, I think, right? So even simpler option, just click on this play button over here and you see this output. Now you can understand why did I tell you to install Code Runner extension. Why? All you need to do is do nothing. Don't even go to the terminal. Simply click on the play button over here, right? So that is why I was telling you, these extensions make your life a lot easier. So as an automation tester or as an automation developer, I always want to think, how can I make my job a little faster? Yes, I can go to the terminal, type this command, but again, at least I'll take 5 to 10 seconds, right? So I always want to optimize my time. So this is how I actually think. Okay, so this is about exponentiation operator, and I hope that it is quite simple. Another way is use the math operator, math object. How do I do? It is capital M, math dot. Okay, how do I do? Simply use the power. So this power is POW. So 5, 2. So this is the same as using 5 comma 2, right? So there are so many ways of coding in JavaScript, right? So it totally depends upon you, right? So what do I do now? Simply click on this play button again. So in this case, it shows you the previous output and you have to scroll down and it shows you the current output also. But if you want to clear the output, simply click on this clear button. And now if you run it, there won't be any previous output. There's always just the current output. Okay, so this is a very handy extension. Please install this Code Runner. Okay, and then we'll talk about something called as NAN and infinity. So this is NAN and this one is infinity. So I told you yesterday, this NAN starts from capital N and ends with capital N. So JavaScript is case sensitive, guys. This is important. JavaScript is case sensitive. So this means NAN and small nan are different. Very, very important thing. So these are some special values in JavaScript. So NAN stands for not a number. And infinity is something we all have learned since our childhood. Anything that is divisible by zero, anything if I'm trying to divide, so it is actually infinity. Okay, so this is about not a number. Okay, and then what we learned yesterday was, this is like a small recap plus some new things I'm teaching also. So how do we declare variables? Declare variables in JavaScript. So in Java, we have to declare using the data type, which is int, float, and all those things. While in JavaScript, we have to use only two keywords, which is let and const. Something I'm telling you, please follow it. Don't use var at all. This is the third way or the old way, but we don't use it because there are so many issues with this var keyword. I will not tell you right now what are the issues, but once we're slightly getting little comfortable with JavaScript, then I'll teach you what is the problem with var and why we should not use it. For now, just understand that these are the two keywords I have to use. And then you will hear about this term a lot of times. So I'll tell you ES6 and ES 2015. These are the things you will hear a lot in the case of JavaScript. What does it mean? So in the year 2015, there was a very major upgradation happened in JavaScript. A lot of features, a lot of functionalities were introduced in JavaScript. So for example, these let and const keywords were introduced in 2015 year, and they call it ES 2015. ES stands for ECMAScript. So ECMAScript is a standard in JavaScript. Okay, this is ECMAScript. So classes and objects, the destructuring syntax, so many major things, so many major changes were happened in 2015, and they also call it as ES6 or ES version 6. Then is ES7, ES8, right? So after this year, so they started coming up with yearly versions, and they are called as ES6, 7, 8, and so on. But this is the most you can say crucial change. Why? Because of the so many features. After 2015 also there were some changes also, some new features were introduced, but they are not as major as this ES6 and 2015. So ES6 and 2015 is one and the same thing. Okay, so Next thing, we learned that we should use camel case convention. Not just camel case, it is lower camel case. So guys, this is all basics of JavaScript. I'm treating you as if you are freshers in automation testing, right? Like one person was saying he has 16 years of experience. He's from Melbourne, Australia. I'm treating you also as a fresher. Don't mind her. But the reason I'm telling you is that because some people have background in Selenium and Java. For them, it might be slightly easy. But for some of you, I mean, in fact, majority of you who don't have any coding background, I'm treating you as if uh, this is like a very structured way of learning. Okay, so we should use lower camel casing for creating variables. So what do I mean by that? If I want to create a variable called num of hens, how do I create? I'll do like this. Let num of hens equal to say 5. So notice that the first character is small, all the subsequent words are in capitals, and this is called as lower camel case convention. Okay, so we only use lower camel casing. We don't use snake casing or any other things, right? So this is the same when it comes to Java and JavaScript. And then we have something called as unary operator. Okay, and guys, if at all you think that my pace is slightly, you can say faster or something, please let me know. Actually, to be honest, I'm naturally a very fast talker. I'm actually speaking on 0.5x. If I talk about YouTube, okay, right? Because I really like to speak on 1.5x actually. But I'm deliberately cutting down my speed because I got this feedback hundreds of times. Piyush, you are very fast. You are very fast. So I'm trying to curb my speed naturally, which is not very natural for me, right? So if at all you think that I'm slightly fast, please let me know. Okay, so unary operator is something. What is a unary operator? Unary means one. Okay, and then we have something called as binary operator. Binary operator means two, and then we have something called as ternary operator, which means three. Okay, so unary is one, binary is two, ternary is three, right? Let me give a simple example. I'm pretty sure you must have seen something like this: a plus plus. You might have also seen plus plus a, something like this, or plus plus x, doesn't matter. What do I mean? If you see over here, this plus plus is an operator. Why it is called unary operator? Because it has only one operand on the left or one operand on the right. In this case, it has exactly one operand. So a is an operand, plus plus is an operator. Okay, in this case, this is an operator, a is an operand. How many operands we have? Exactly one. How many operands we have? Exactly one. In the case of exactly one, we call it unary operator. So that is why this plus plus is called as unary operator. Okay, now when we talk about this binary operator, I can give a very simple example. If I do a plus b, I think you can easily understand now. Oops, a plus b. So this plus operator is now called as binary operator. Why? It has something on the left, something on the right. One operand, second operand. What does it mean? Two operators. When it is two operators, it is called as binary operator. So this plus is called binary. This plus plus is called as unary because it is acting upon one operand. This plus operator is acting upon how many operands? Two operands. Okay, so I really hope that you are able to understand, right? It is very, very simple. And this is the mindset that I want to install in your heads actually. That is, JavaScript is easy. Always try to repeat it. JavaScript is easy. I keep on telling myself when I started learning it, JavaScript is easy, JavaScript is easy, JavaScript is easy, right? The biggest challenge is training my mind to believe that it is easy. Okay, so I'll be teaching a lot of psychological tricks, guys. You will not get to hear all this, right? Your trainer is slightly crazy. I'll be teaching you not only technical skills, I'll be teaching you some very good important skills. Okay, yeah, I'm on 1.5x, I know, but I'm trying to again slow down my speed actually. So, okay, so this is how I create another variable called counter. So what is happening over here? I'm creating a variable called counter using the let keyword, and this is the value that I'm storing in this variable. So some of you have never done coding before. I'm trying to tell you something. Whatever is on the right hand side, which is 0, it gets assigned to this variable on the left hand side. So there will be a variable in the memory which is called counter, and the value of this variable will be 0. Okay, let me show you how does it look like in the memory. So in the memory, okay, so this is what I do. So if this is my memory, I'm going to create one box. Okay, so in this box, I'm going to store this value, say 10. What is the name? How do I call this box? I call it counter. So this is exactly what is happening in the memory. So I'm having a block of space in the memory, which is going to have this value 10. and the name of this block is called counter. Okay, so this is exactly what is happening in the memory. Okay, so counter equal to 0. Okay, so this is fine. And yeah, just like how we have a plus plus and plus plus a, we also have something like a minus minus or minus minus a. I'll be teaching you these postfix and prefix operators in depth later on, but for now I'm just trying to make you familiar. And yeah guys, very important thing, learning can never be linear actually. If I'm trying to teach you, let's say 50 concepts in one day, for example, you will be able to at most understand only 30 to 35, because we are human, we cannot understand everything in one go. But once you're able to get familiar with these 30-35 concepts, if you'll come back to this recording again, or if you'll come back to your notes after you're familiar with these 30-35 concepts, that is when you will actually understand these remaining 10 or 15 concepts. I'm not still saying that you will be able to understand all those concepts later on, but maybe in the third time or the second time, third time, fourth time, that is when you can learn. So it is not possible actually to learn everything in one attempt. I was a very slow learner. Some of you are slow learners just like me, but some of you are fast learners. I don't know, right? So learning is not linear. You will have to jump back into your notes again and again to get familiar with these terms. And if you have never done coding before, you want to jump into these concepts like a revision every 2 or 3 days. Okay, so next thing I just showed you. So okay, let me hide this terminal again, control backtick. Okay, so I've just told you we have two different ways. One is let and const. How do I create a constant variable? Simply use const. And the simplest use case of using const, suppose my birth year. My birth year can never change. So this is a lower camel case convention. Suppose I'm born in 1990, which is not my actual birth year, for example. Right. In this case, this is not supposed to change. Can I use let? Yes, I can. But do I need let here? Not really. Why? I want to be very restrictive in my coding. I'll only use let if I'm absolutely sure this value is supposed to change. If I think that this value is not supposed to change, use const blindly. So the first preferred choice is use const. Only when you're not able to use const, then only go with let. This is a very good programming practice I'm telling you. I'm not just teaching you JavaScript. I'll be teaching you some very good programming practices as well. Okay, now if I try to change it, what happens? So if I try to, let's say, add 10 to it, is JavaScript is going to allow? Let us see. So if I try to do this, so is JavaScript is going to throw an error? Let us see. I didn't get any error. Why? I'm simply trying to add 10, but I'm not changing the value of this variable. This is important, guys. I'm trying to add 10, but I'm not adding 10 here to this variable, right? So, but if I simply do this console.log birthday plus 10, this is not going to throw an error, right? So I'll simply get what? 2000 actually. See the output, right? But I will get an error if I do something like this. Birth year equal to birth year plus 10. What I'm saying is now add 10 to this birth year, and whatever is the value, store it back into birth year, right? So from the memory point of view, as long as I'm not touching this value, right, I'm fine with it. But the moment I'm trying to touch this constant variable like this, JavaScript will throw an error. Not allowed. Okay, so I cannot change the value of const variable. So if I try to do this, now let me run it and show you. Now I am getting this error, assignment to constant variable. Okay, so this is an error that I get if I try to change the value of a const variable. So I'm just writing this for your notes. Very important thing. Okay, so some real use cases of constant, which will actually clear this concept. So if you go back to your school days, I'm pretty sure you must have heard about something which is called as pi. Not life of pi, pi variable, right? So if you want to calculate the, let's say, circumference, I forgot. Okay, circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, and the area of circle is pi r square. Not very good with maths, I'm actually. That's okay. So there is something called as pi, and the value of pi is like a constant. So can I create a variable like let pi equal to 3.1416, something like this? Yes, I can create, not an issue. JavaScript is not stopping me. But should I use let here? The answer is no. Why? Because this is a variable that is constant. It is not supposed to change. Why am I giving some people an opportunity to change the value of this pi? Not allowed. So should I use const? The answer is yes. Okay, so this is a perfect use case of using the constant variable. Another example, how many days a week we have? 7 days in a week. So if I want to store this number, should I use let or const? const here. Const days in week. Notice something. I'm using what? The lower camel casing. D is in lowercase, I is in uppercase, W is in uppercase. This is a perfect way of creating a variable in JavaScript. And this equal to is called as assignment operator. Assignment operator. So whatever is on the right hand side, it gets assigned to this variable on the left hand side. So in the memory, assume that what is going to happen, a box is going to be created. Inside this box I'll be dumping this value 7 and I'm pasting a sticky note on this box, because without this sticky note how will I know what this box is for? Like you have a name, I have a name, right? Without your names how will people call you? Same thing, how do I call this variable without having its name? So this is like a name that I'm going to use it to access this value. Okay, so and then we have something called as var. Can I use var? Of course I can, but it should never be used. So if I do something like this, var trip distance equal to 4.5, I can use it. JavaScript will not stop me, but it has so many issues that we'll be seeing later on that you'll realize that this is something you should never ever use. Never use it. Okay, so I'll write never ever use. Okay, so this is something okay we have done actually. Okay, so this particular topic about numbers is kind of over. Okay, yeah, very important thing, variable naming rules. Okay, so I'm actually referring to my notes. I have made tons and tons of notes, and that is why it is very easy. I don't even need even a 5 minutes of preparation time. I have my notes and I can start teaching immediately. Okay, even without preparation, right? So that is why I'm telling you the power of notes, guys. Please prepare your notes as much as possible. Okay, so what are the variable naming rules? Very important thing. Variable naming rules. People usually don't talk about it, but this is something which is extremely important. Okay, so what are the rules? The first rule is very important thing. It cannot start with a number. Cannot start with a number. And I'm hoping that you are making notes. If not, please do it. Please do it. For example, this is an invalid variable name, 3 years. No, not allowed. I cannot use it. Why? It is starting with a number, so this is not allowed. Okay, so variable names can only contain letters, numbers, underscore, or dollar, right? You cannot have any other character. Letters are allowed 1 2 3. Oh sorry, A B C and all. Numbers 1 2 3 and so on. Underscore is allowed, but we don't use underscore. Why? I've told you, we use lower camel casing like this. Anyways, it is allowed, but doesn't mean that we should use. Dollar is something I've never used it, to be honest. So these two I've never used it, but majorly we use letters and numbers only. But these are the 4 things that are actually allowed by JavaScript, but that does not mean that we should use it. Okay, third thing, we cannot use reserved keywords in JavaScript. What do we mean by reserved keywords? Okay, so this const is a keyword, this var is a keyword. Okay, so this variable, sorry, this let name is a keyword. So there are so many reserved keywords, whether it is Java, JavaScript, Python, any language, we all have keywords. Keywords means these are those words that I cannot use as variable names. Okay, suppose if I try to create a variable like this, const let, does it make sense? No, right? This let is a keyword, and JavaScript is actually throwing me an error. Let is not allowed to be used as a name, right? Because let is a keyword, not allowed. Can I use let and const? Again, very silly example, but not allowed. See, again, JavaScript is showing an error. Variable declaration not allowed at this location, not allowed. Okay, so we cannot use reserved keywords in JavaScript. Okay, so with this, a very important thing rule is what? Always give a meaningful or descriptive name to a variable. Very important thing actually. Okay, so another thing, fifth one, never use uppercase letters for creating variables. Why am I teaching all this? Suppose if you don't follow all these techniques, and suppose if you join an automation project, if I'm your manager, if I see some piece of code that is not following the right practices, I'll immediately tell you, this code is not allowed, please go and correct it. Okay, so these are some very good practices that we should follow actually. Okay, so yeah, you will not be able to remember all of this, and I don't expect you to cram all this. Just keep on reading all this, right? In with time actually you will automatically remember it. Okay, and another thing, variable names that are all in uppercase are called as global constants. What do I mean by this? Okay, so in this case, this pi, I will not create it like this. How do I create it? I'll actually create something like this. Const of capital Pi. Why? This pi is not a local constant. This is kind of a global constant. Everybody is aware of this. Same in this case, days in a week. This is more like a global constant. Everybody is aware of this. But my birth year, which is also a constant, but not everyone is aware of it, right? I can create it like a lower camel case. But in this case, to make it more specific, I have to use upper camel case. So this is not mandatory, but this is a very good programming practice. Okay, so we use upper camel case only for, you can say, global constants. It is used only for global constants. Okay, so guys, this is how we teach step by step actually. If you're going to learn JavaScript in this sequence, I can bet on it. Just 1 or 2 months from now, with practice, daily practice, and the coding assignments that I'll be giving you, you guys will be very solid actually. Okay, so keep on practicing actually. You don't need to learn anything else, anything outside from JavaScript. Yes, you can for your knowledge, but whatever I'm teaching is enough for automation testing point of view. And of course, there's no limit to how much you can learn. If you want to be a developer or something, right, you can of course learn, but from automation point of view, this much JavaScript is enough what I'm teaching. Okay, so this is something that we have used. Okay, and yeah, can I create a variable name without this? Okay, so if I go to google.com, okay, so can I create a variable like this, say like this, last name equal to double quotes? I'm not using let, var, or const. Okay, so this is something that is actually allowed in JavaScript, but this is a very terrible way of creating a variable. So because it is internally taking the var keyword, never use it. Always use let or const. Okay, so with this particular chapter is kind of over now, and now I'll be showing you a small coding challenge actually, right? That is going to give you a lot of practice, right? So I'll be telling you a piece of puzzle here. Okay, and then yes, I'll not be able to give you time because it will take you a lot of time, but I'll still tell you, right? Whatever I'm telling you, just try to do it. Okay, and this should give you a lot of confidence. Okay, so here I'll be writing like this, coding1.js. And now, in case if you're wondering why I'm creating multiple JavaScript files, it's the same reason why you have shelves in your home, right? Because you want to organize things better, right? You have shelves in your kitchen, you have shelves in your home. Guys, can you please mute yourself, please? I'm not sure who this person is, but please mute yourself. I'll request you so that it should not disturb anyone. Okay, so looks like it is done. Okay, thank you so much, guys. So for this, okay, so yeah, about that coding challenge. Yeah, I was telling you about shelves, right? Why do we have shelves in our home? Because we want to make things organized. Just like I will not see. I'll never store my kitchen utensils in my room, right? Same way, I'll never store my clothes into kitchen, right? Because we have dedicated shelves. Same thing. In order to organize my code, I want to create multiple files like this. Yes, I can still go with one file, but imagine if I'm dumping all the piece of code into one file. It is going to be a giant file. And if imagine so many people are working in one file, and if one person corrupts the file, it can be a chaos, right? Right. So in order to organize my code better, I will create multiple JavaScript files. Why? Because I want to organize my code better. Another good programming practice I'm telling you, right? Like, okay, I can give a very simple example, right? So if you look into your Chrome tabs, how many Chrome tabs do you usually have? You don't have to answer me. I know the answer, you know the answer, right? Majority of cases, when I look into people's laptops, they have 25 Chrome tabs, 30 Chrome tabs. Another example, if you go to your desktop, look into how many tabs you have. Sorry, how many folders, how many files we have. I think our whole desktop is kind of flooded, right? What does this tell us? Right, we want to get organized because this tells us more about the personality, what kind of person I am I an organized person? Right, because I cannot be an organized person in one area of my life and disorganized in another area of my life, right? So this is important. I want to be organized. Okay, now coming to this coding challenge, there are two people, say Rahul and Aman, right? So what I want to do is there are two people, Rahul and Aman, and I want to calculate their body mass index. Okay, now even I don't remember this formula. So how do I calculate the body mass index? So this body mass index tells me how healthy a person is. So this is the formula for body mass index. How do I do? We divide the weight of the person, right, multiply by the height, but height square actually. So this is how I write in English, plain English. This is not valid JavaScript, so that is why I'm commenting it out. Weight of the person divided by height square will give me the BMI of a person. Okay, so if there are two people, say Rahul and Aman, I want to calculate their BMI. So I want the weight of Rahul, I want the height of Rahul, I want the weight of Aman, I want to find out the height of Aman. What I want to do next, I want to find out whose BMI is higher. Okay, so this program, if you'll actually do it, it should give you a lot of confidence. Even if you have never done any kind of coding before. Why? JavaScript is easy. Always tell yourself JavaScript is easy. JavaScript is easy. Okay, this is the thing I want to basically reprogram myself. JavaScript is easy because JavaScript is easy. Okay, so whose BMI is higher? This is something I want to find out. Okay, so how do I start this program? Very simple thing. So I'm having how many pieces of information? I have four pieces of information. Okay, one is what? Weight of Rahul is 78, height of Rahul is 1.69, which is in meters. Okay, so this is weight of, so this is for Rahul. Okay, so I'll write like this, Rahul, and then I have another person called Aman. Okay, so for this Aman, what is his weight? Weight of Aman is 92, and the height of Aman is 1.95. So he is slightly taller than Rahul. I know the weight of both these people. I know the heights of both these people, so I can easily calculate their BMI now. Now, how do I write this code in JavaScript? First thing, okay, so I'll use some bad way of writing, and eventually I'll tell you what is the right way of writing. Okay, so if I look at this, let Rahul equal to 78. I'm deliberately writing some wrong piece of code actually. It is going to work? Yes. Syntactically, it is working fine, right? I'll handpick one of you and ask, so what is the improvements we can make in this code? Because only after finding out what are the improvements we can make, that is how we can get better. Okay, so this is Rahul. Second one is Aman. Okay, so, okay, this Rahul and Aman doesn't really make sense. Let me call it height of Rahul. Let me call it height of Aman. Okay, so yeah, it makes sense. Height of Rahul is 78, 92. Same thing. I can do let weight of Rahul is 1.69. So meter, this unit is something only for me. But in JavaScript, I'll not write. I'll simply write 1.69. Again, let weight of Aman equal to 1.95. Okay, so I've written down the weights of these four people. Now, what do I want to do? I have this information. I want to find out their BMI. I'll use this formula. How do I write the formula? I'll simply write let BMI. Okay, let me say BMI of Rahul. How do I write weight divided by height square? What is the weight? Okay, so height of Rahul, height of Aman, weight of Rahul. This is the weight of Rahul divided by height square. So how do I write height square? Height of Aman. How do I write height square? I just told you there's an operator for doing this squaring, right? We use something called as exponentiation operator in JavaScript. Okay, this is something I can do. Same thing for BMI of Rahul, and this is BMI of Aman. So weight of Rahul, weight of Aman, height of, okay, weight of Aman, and then height of Aman. And yeah, this should not be weight of height of Aman. It should be height of Rahul. Perfect. So this should give me the BMI of Rahul. This should give me the BMI of Aman. Now I want to compare. How do I compare two numbers, whether it is Java or JavaScript? It is very simple. Okay, we simply use this greater than sign. Okay, so what do? I can simply write like this: console.log BMI of Rahul greater than BMI of Aman. So this greater than operator is called as a logical operator. We'll talk about these operators, right? But this is something we also use in our real life also. It is very simple. It is not just in programming. We all use it in our real life. Is it bigger? Then it is going to give me true, or else it is going to give me false. Okay, and finally, I'll use console.log. I'll print the BMI of all these people. How do I print? See, the moment I type BMI, you see this suggestion box? That is the beauty of using this VS Code. It gives me the suggestion so that I don't have to type the complete variable name. I can simply hit enter and it is going to select. Again, if I simply type BMI of R, it is going to give me the suggestion again. Simply hit enter. That is the beauty of using editors like VS Code or Eclipse in Java or IntelliJ. And then right? So, okay, let me print the output and see. So how do I run it? Very simple. Simply click on the play button over here. And I see this output as true. And this is the first BMI. This is the second BMI. What is the issue over here? Right? Okay, guys, now is the time to unmute yourself and okay, put on a tester's hat and find out what are the issues that we have done in this code and how we can fix it. Anyone? It's not difficult actually.
Yeah, lower camel case for variables.
Okay, correct. So we have to use the lower camel case. This is the first issue that we have done. So first one is okay, what I'll do, I'll use it, I'll call it weight of Rahul first, and it should be in lower camel case. So as you correctly mentioned, lower camel case, first thing. Okay, so weight of Rahul is what? It is actually 78. So looks like I've actually done in the height. So that is a small mistake I've done. Okay, and then height of Rahul is what? It is 1.69. Okay, so weight of Rahul is this, height of Rahul is this. Weight of Aman, again, it should be in lower camel case, as you rightly mentioned. So weight of Aman is what? 92. Okay, so I'll use this control command X. Yeah. So weight of Aman is this, height of Aman, it should also be in lower camel case, 92. Okay, so height of Aman is 1.95. This is fine. Okay, guys. So since I have changed it, right, I need to basically change these variable names also. Why? JavaScript variables are case sensitive. In fact, whole JavaScript is case sensitive. So I'll do what? Right? So I'll copy and I'll paste it over here. Weight of Rahul. Again, I'll change capital H to small h, capital W to small w. Okay, so this is one issue that we have fixed. What else? There is one more issue, guys. Anyone can tell me what is the issue in this code? Yes, syntactically it is going to work fine. Let me run it again. Yeah, so this is the correct BMI of these people. Okay, this is fine. And yeah, BMI of Rahul is even higher than BMI of Aman. That is why it is even printing true. Okay, there are still one issue actually, and there are some improvements we can still do. Put on a tester's hat and tell me. What do you think? What else we can do?
Yeah, the decimality is showing is 24, and then it should be around. That is
Okay,
the one
we
thing I see
okay
here.
we can round it. Okay, that is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but not mandatory actually.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the good practices basically. What you said is correct. I can of course round it, but
Mm-hmm.
only if I am required to do it. But that is not a bad practice. But yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So from
The
yeah, go
Mm-hmm.
ahead.
let keyword can be constant.
Exactly. Very good. What's your name?
Harshada.
Harshita. Correct. It should be const. Why? Am I planning to change this weight of Rahul and height of Rahul? No. If I'm not planning to change, simply use const. Right? So
But
how do I
weight,
change?
yeah, but weight is the thing that it constantly changes. It won't be
Correct.
same for a
Correct.
longer time,
Yes.
right?
And
Colette
even
is
if it is
also correct,
yes,
and
that
it's
is fine.
not
Let is
the thing
correct.
like everyone knows.
Right.
So
I totally agree with what you're saying. But the point is, even if
yeah.
this changes, I can come and change over here. Right? I can change over
Mm-hmm.
here. But this part should be const actually. Because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
planning to change the weight of Rahul in the same script. Because in the same script, I don't think his weight will magically increase. Right? So
Mm-hmm.
if the weight changes, yes, I can come and make change over here. But this part should be const. That is what I was trying to say. Okay, so we have to be careful how I'm creating the variables. Whether I should use let, should I use const? Very, very good practice. Yeah, this is something you will learn with experience, but these parts should be const. Now, coming to this, BMI Rahul and BMI Aman. Should it be let? Should it be const? What do you guys think? Tell me. Hmm? Is it let? Is it fine? Or should it be const? Am I planning to change this variable values later on? If the answer is yes, I
Oh,
should keep it let.
yeah, since the weight we are saying that it's not gonna change, then BMI obviously not gonna change. So it could be a
Correct.
const in this case, right?
Yes, we can use
Yeah.
const. Absolutely correct. Right? So see, guys, that is what I'm telling you. How we once we'll actually move into some automation projects, we'll see some piece of code. We'll see some people don't follow these good practices. That is why I'm stressing on these good practices. We should know when to use let, when to use const. These are the most important things actually. Okay, and yeah, coming to this part. Okay, so whether this part should happen first or this part should happen first. In India, we have learned something in the childhood. I hope you remember something. I hope you guys are getting what I'm trying to say. Whether this part should happen first or This part should happen first. It is decided based upon the priority. I hope you guys are getting, right? In this
Yeah, the
case,
precision, the right,
correct.
Rahul, yeah, that gonna take first and then the division part. Yeah.
Correct. This part has the higher priority than this division because this exponentiation operator has a higher priority than this forward slash. But to make it more specific, I hope in you remember in India we learned something called as BODMAS. Bracket is the first thing. I don't know whether in US, I think it is in India we call BODMAS. In US and some countries they call it PEMDAS, like P is for parenthesis. Okay, multiplication division. So multiplication and division has a higher priority than addition and subtraction. Same thing, bracket has the highest priority. Similarly, parenthesis has the highest priority. So to make it more specific, I think this is making my code more readable. I'm always up for readability, right? I think we are being more specific here, but anyone can easily understand now. Yes, you and I know the priority of this is higher than this one. So even without this parenthesis, it can still work fine. But I think this is making my code more readable, right? So always try to make your code more readable. Again, a very good programming practice. Very, very important thing. I hope you guys are able to understand. Okay. Another thing. Now, if you look at this output, anyone can understand which BMI belongs to which person? Whether this is Rahul's or this is Rahul's. How do I know? I'll have to constantly see, okay, this is Aman's, this is Rahul. From here I can see, but just looking into this output, can I find out, is this Rahul's or is this Rahul's? You guys are getting, right? How do we do it? Very, very simple technique. A lot of advanced JavaScript developers also don't know this technique. Simply use this
Double quote
curly
we could
brace.
pass BMI Rahul. Yeah. And then in the dollar sign we could pass this parameter
We can do that,
into the
but
curly
even
braces dollar
yeah,
sign.
we can. There's an even more simpler way. That is simply use the curly
Mm-hmm.
braces like this. If I
Mm-hmm.
use a curly
Mm-hmm.
brace like this, actually I'm using
Mm-hmm.
JavaScript object here with the shorthand syntax
Mm-hmm.
that is introducing ES6. Don't worry about the syntax, but just understand that if I want to print out in Java, we cannot use it because in Java we have to use concatenations. I'll have to write BMI of Aman is plus BMI Aman, right? BMI of Rahul is plus BMI Rahul. But there's an even simpler way in JavaScript. Just use this flower or curly braces. Right now, I'll show you. If I run this code now, see how neat and clean your output is looking like. See, I think it is very, very easy to read. If you compare this with this, see, quite easy to read, right? Okay, this is BMI of Aman. This is BMI of Rahul, just by using these flower braces. So it's a very powerful technique, right? Rather than using multiple concatenations. Yes, you can do that also, nothing wrong, but this is even simpler. I'll try to make your life a lot easier, guys, with these shortcuts, these handy tricks. Like Control L for clearing the terminal. A lot of people are not sure. Control backtick, which is simply going to close the terminal and open it again. So these are some shortcuts and some techniques we should know, guys. Okay, so yes, this coding exercise, please try to do it yourself. Yes, at the moment you are seeing me, but once you will start doing it, for sure you will make some mistake. 100% I'm guaranteeing you. Like people who have never done coding before, for sure you're going to make some mistake. I want you to write this on your own. After this class, please write it on your own. You will make some mistakes, then compare it against my code, and that is how you'll improve. So practice, practice, practice. No shortcut. Guys, just give me 1 second. Let me drink some water. My throat is completely. Okay, so any questions still here, guys? Any questions? Or should we move on to the next part? Yes, please.
Piyush, I just tried a small code snippet for the let example. I have
Okay.
posted in the chat.
You have, oh my God, so many people are posting on chat. Oh, I didn't see actually. No screenshot, not yet, not yet. You'll be sharing. Okay, just a sec. Actually, some people are asking me questions. Okay, yeah. Firstly, you tell me. Okay, is it Samir?
Yeah, Samir.
Okay, so
So I
let me
tried.
come over. Huh.
So this second line declaration, actually, I come from Python background, so I thought of let me try this. So this
Okay,
they
okay,
did not give any error. So when I try to
okay.
print, I'm getting an undefined error.
Okay, so firstly, what is happening over here? So in this case, firstly, this semicolon is not, you can say mandatory in JavaScript. I can remove it. Like in Java, if we talk about it is mandatory, but in JavaScript, these are not mandatory. But this is something that is not valid JavaScript code actually, guys. Okay, so If you want to do this, this is how you want to do, right? If you want to basically declare and initialize, so how do you do? Very simple. I'm assuming you want to set A to 1 and B to 2. How do you do? Oops. You do A equal to 1, B equal to 2, and put a space. I think it makes your code more readable. This is how you do. This is not how you do. This is not at all valid JavaScript, right? Now you simply print out console.log. Okay,
But
so
why don't we get error for line 24?
oh,
Should
we
not
didn't get an
accept.
error. Okay, that is what JavaScript is slightly weird actually. Okay, so firstly, let us see the output. Yeah, so this output is correct. Let me see now this particular thing. A comma B equal to 1 comma 2. So, okay, what was your original code? So you were saying A comma B, right? This is what you did. So let us see. Undefined and 1. This is very weird actually. Ideally, this is not allowed. Why? Because you're putting this comma, right? Ideally, JavaScript should flag an error. So that is what I keep on saying. So there are some weird issues that we see in JavaScript at times. This is not allowed actually, not allowed. If you want to do things, yes, I know if you're from Python background, Python is completely different from JavaScript. So you will basically take some more time to get familiar with this JavaScript syntax. Okay, so this is what how you want to declare variables. Ideally, I would suggest instead of doing this, better option is use two separate lines like this. This is making your code more readable. Even though you are using one extra line, but yes, this is now making your code more readable. So this is how we do. Okay, so I'm seeing variable has not followed the rule declaration since it has to be in camel case. Okay, Sangeeta was saying, yes, Sangeeta, that is correct. Pre and post plus plus. Okay, live server by publisher. Okay, live server by Ritvik Day Subramanian. Will you be sharing study materials at the end of every session? I can share actually, guys, but I will share only if it is not making you cripple. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, I have tons and tons of notes. Okay, like I have created. So let me just share with you. So if you see, this is the notes of the first and the second day. I would want to share it with you, but the only thing is you want to make your own notes also. But if you're relying completely on my notes and not revising it and just being happy but not practicing, it is not helpful. So yes, I will still share it. Why? It is going to help you. Okay, Subramanian is asking about IDE. It is VS Code. Okay, so any more question, guys? No questions? So I'm assuming that
Piyush,
everything. Yeah, go ahead.
will you be covering database testing and like in the last class you mentioned mobile browsers you can test using Playwright. Will you be covering these two topics, database and mobile?
So mobile is something I can cover because see, Playwright does not directly support this mobile testing. So what happens is you can shrink your browser to look like a mobile screen. Okay, I can just quickly show you. So if you see this particular button over here, right? Now you see my browser is now behaving like an iPad. So this is how an iPad looks like. This is what I can do with Playwright. But if you're talking about testing the native applications like APK applications or those Android applications, that is not supported by Playwright only. So for that, we have a dedicated tool called as APM. Even Selenium cannot do it. We have to rely on some external tools, which is APM. So this is mobile testing is not supported fully in Playwright. But yes, I can emulate my screen to behave like my browser will start behaving like a mobile screen. That is what I can do. But direct mobile testing is not supported with Playwright. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. And what about database?
Okay, so database testing is not a specific part of this course because that is itself, you can say, an ocean in itself actually. Okay, so if you want to see what all things we are going to cover, so this is basically the course content that I have prepared actually. So if you see over here, so these are the previous recordings of the previous class, those demos videos. Okay, so if you just scroll down over here, everything I've mentioned over here. So I think this much is enough for JavaScript. And if you'll practice this much, what all things I have written over here, you will be in very solid place. And you can easily actually tell people that you have 1 to 2 years of experience if you have done solid practice for this, because I'm teaching all these things, right, that are required from the project's point of view. Like these are the Playwright framework features, very important thing, right, including the page object pattern, API utilities, driving the data from the external files. So I'm teaching all those important things like AI powered Playwright. These are the most important things. Database testing is something, it is not really a part of this course, but yes, if we require, we can take this up as a separate topic. We can.
Yeah, means I meant like as part of API testing, sometimes we need
Correct.
to fetch and verify data in database whether it is actually reflecting
Okay,
or not. So
okay, I totally get that. In that case, that is not really database testing basically, because if I'm testing the APIs, right, all I have to do is test the APIs, not the database. If I'm running this API, suppose if it is a post API, I'm running this API, right? So it is hitting the database and it is getting me the response, right? I can validate the response rather than testing the database directly. If this API is working fine, I can check the response again with Playwright. So yes, this is possible with Playwright, and I'll be teaching you in depth about APIs for sure. Okay.
okay, thanks.
So, right. So, and if you guys want, I can even share this particular project with you. What all things I'm writing over here. These are the notes that I'm writing for you guys. Okay, but I still expect you also make your own notes. That is how you will get comfortable. Okay. So, next thing. Okay. So we're going to start with, we just learned what? We have learned about numbers, right? Now we are going to basically start with Booleans. Booleans are the most simplest data type. Okay. So Booleans have just two values. One is true, second one is false. Like one person was mentioning that he's from Python background. In Python, it is capital true and capital false. But in JavaScript and Java both, we have small true, small, I mean, lowercase true, lowercase false. Okay, so there's no third value. Okay, so let me give an example. How do I do? Let is logged in equal to true, because how do I get a Boolean value? If I'm asking somebody, okay, let me give a simple example. If I ask any one of you, is today Sunday? Can you answer yes? Yeah, you can. You can answer no. Can you say maybe? No, there's no maybe answer. There can only be yes or no. Is today Sunday? The answer is yes. Is tomorrow Monday? The answer is yes. Again, why I'm using this is word? Because it sounds more like a question. Okay, so that is why. Again, it is a good practice. Whenever you are trying to create booleans, use is or has. Okay, so is logged in means I'm asking a question that can only be answered in true or false. Is logged in, is that person logged in? The answer is true. Okay, let is game over? The answer can be false. Means some people are playing game, their game is not yet over. Okay, another silly example. Let is water wet? Simple. It can only be answered in true, never be false, right? This is how we can create booleans, and it is a very, very simple data type in JavaScript. And yeah, we have something which is again weird in JavaScript. This is not there in Java. Okay, not sure about Python though. So variables can change types, which is something which should never be done actually. Variables can change types, which can be dangerous, which can create some bugs in my code. What do I mean? So let me tell you. So if I'm creating a variable called numDonuts and I'm giving a value of 12, what is happening in the memory? I'm creating a box in the memory which has this value called 12 and applying a sticky note called numDonuts. What does it mean? So that I can refer to this memory using this variable name. That's the whole point. Okay. So, and this part is called declaration and this part is called assignment. So what are we doing? We are doing declaration and assignment in one line. Very important thing to understand. Declaration is, suppose if I don't give an initial value, this part is called declaration. It means I'm declaring a variable. I'm telling JavaScript that I want a variable with this name. That is called declaration. What is the meaning of assignment? Assignment means I am using the assignment operator equal to pass a value, say 12. This is assignment using assignment operator. So I'm telling JavaScript on this variable, I want to give this value. Okay, it means in the memory, this a box is going to be created with this value 12, and I'm assigning a sticky note or a label called numDonuts. That's it. Now, can I change this value? The answer is yes, because I'm using the let keyword. So can I do numDonuts equal to 20? The answer is yes, and this is fine. This is not weird thing. But the weird thing in JavaScript is I can even do this. NumDonuts equal to false. This is weird. Why it is weird? I'm assigning a different type of data. I'm assigning a Boolean value now. Previously, the data type was number. Now I'm assigning another type, which is Boolean value, which is allowed actually in JavaScript. Again, I can even call it, I can again give it another number. Again, this is allowed. Again, can I do numDonuts equal to, can I give it my name? Unfortunately, yes. So this is something which is allowed, but that does not mean I should use it. I should never do such kind of thing. I should rather create separate variables if I want to store this kind of data. I should never use the same variable name. Why? This can lead to very difficult to read code, very hard to read, and we should never do such kind of thing. And this is also called as dynamic typing in JavaScript. Dynamic typing means the variables can change their type. Ideally, this should not be done. We should never do this. So I should be careful. I should never change the type of a variable. Why? Just like as a QA, I don't like it when a developer actually makes some mistakes, right? So I have to log a bug. Same thing, right? I don't want to introduce bugs in my code. So I will never do this kind of thing. Okay, so this dynamic typing is allowed, but I should never do this. Okay, so for this reason, we have something called as TypeScript language. And this is something we'll actually learn at the end of this course. What is TypeScript and why we should use TypeScript? Because in TypeScript, we can do something like this. Let num colon number equal to 10. This is not valid TypeScript code because this is a JavaScript or a JS file. That is why it is flagging an error. But this is a valid TypeScript code. I'm clearly telling Java or TypeScript that this variable has to be of type number. Now, can I change this num to anything else? The answer is no. If this is TypeScript code, this is not allowed. Right? So that is why a lot of people are now starting to prefer TypeScript also. But in order to learn TypeScript, we should have basic knowledge of JavaScript because TypeScript is complete JavaScript plus some additional features. So can you directly learn TypeScript? The answer is no. You have to learn basic JavaScript because TypeScript is built on top of JavaScript. And the definition of TypeScript is JavaScript with additional types. That is what TypeScript is. Okay. And then we are going to start with another data type. We have seen numbers, we have just seen booleans. Now we are starting with strings. I hope my speed is okay and you guys should be able to understand. This is a very, you can say, simple topics. So we are going to learn about strings. So
Hi Piyush,
what?
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
That,
Okay.
that would be very silly. But so far we used this Visual Studio for the coding, right? We are writing code in JavaScript in Visual
Right.
Studio. So what
Visual
is the
Studio
use?
Code.
Yeah, Visual Studio Code. So what is the
Correct.
use of this Node.js?
Okay, so firstly, see, never ever say that this question is silly. Why? You are a beginner, but that is question is not silly because you are trying to learn. Okay, so very important is your choice of words. Okay, so coming to Node.js. Okay, so you just saw, right? How did I ran this previous script? Okay, so I use what? Control backtick and I'm on the terminal. I ran this command node and I ran this JavaScript file. Without Node.js, this node command has no meaning actually. I'm able to use this node command because previously as a prerequisite I have installed a software called as Node.js. So Node.js is like an environment or like an execution engine, which is like my engine for running JavaScript. I cannot run JavaScript without having this Node.js engine. Like in Java, I need something called as JRE, which is Java Runtime Environment. Without JRE, I cannot run Java software on my computer. Same thing. Without Node.js, I cannot run any JavaScript file outside the browser. But within the browser has its own inbuilt engine. So I can run JavaScript code like this without having Node.js because all the popular browsers like Chrome, Firefox, and all those things, they have their own inbuilt engine. Does that answer your question?
Yes, correct. So even we have these extension, we need Node.js.
Correct. And this is something I've even prepared notes for you. So if you see over here, right, the first thing I've written what? Running JavaScript inside the browser. See, everything is crystal clear written over here, right? So limitations of running code inside the browser, right? Running JavaScript outside the browser, need for Node.js. I have prepared detailed notes for you guys. So this is definitely going to be very useful. You don't want to mug up, right? You just want to go through these notes maybe once and your concepts should be clear. These are the foundation concepts. If you go through these foundation concepts, after 1 or 2 months from now, you should be very solid with your understanding. But yeah, thank you so much for asking this question. Not at all a silly question. Please, guys, never say that this question is silly. If something is not clear, it is not clear. But that doesn't make it silly. Okay? Okay. So let me move on. So we were starting with strings. Okay, so what are strings basically? Your name is a string. My name is a string. Simple thing. Your company name is a string. My company name is a string. So what is a string? Strings are pieces of text or strings of characters. And we wrap them in JavaScript. We wrap strings in single quote like this. We can wrap them in double quotes like this, because if you're from Java background, we can only use double quotes. We cannot use single quotes for strings. Not sure about Python actually. Okay, so single and double quotes. And we even have something called as backticks, which is this slanting code just below the escape key. This is the third way of creating a string. Hello world. And this is a very powerful, actually very powerful way of creating a string. I'll talk about these slanting codes actually. Okay, for now just understand that these are slanting codes just below the escape key. Okay, so we can either use single quote or double quote, but we have to be consistent. What do I mean by this? Suppose for one variable you are using single quote, for second variable you are using double quotes. That doesn't make sense, right? You want to be consistent. Suppose if you're working into a project, one person is following the single quote approach, you are following the double quote approach. Is it anything wrong? The answer is no. But are you guys consistent? The answer is no. As a team, if you're working together, you all should have some common practices that you all should be following. Very important thing. And this one is backtick keys. Okay, so we don't really use it for creating strings, but this is also very powerful way. Okay, so I'll talk about this. Okay, and then we have something called as a very important operator, which is called the type of operator. So notice that in the case of type of, it is all in lowercase. Yeah, it is a second word, but this is not you can say lower camel case. It is all in lowercase. And what does it do? It tells me the data type of a variable. So what is the data type of this variable? The answer is string. Why it is not number? Because I'm wrapping in single or double quote. So anything that is wrapped inside single or double quote or even backtick, it is called as a string. So how do I run it and see? Simply use console.log. Okay, so now let me clear the terminal. Okay, so if I want to run only a particular line, so this is very handy extension. I'll tell you something. If I want to run the entire piece of code, I can go to the terminal and simply type node1.js. Okay, but if I want to run only a particular line and ignoring everything else, what do I do? Just select this line. Select this line and click on the play button. JavaScript will ignore everything else. So this run code is a fantastic feature. Simply select this line and run. It will ignore everything else and it is going to run only this line. Click on the play button and you see this. And the output is string. Okay, now how do I get a number? I just need to remove these double quotes from here. Now this is a number. So how do I run it? Just select this, click on the play button, and I see string and number. So anything that is wrapped inside single or double quote or backticks, it is a string. Doesn't matter. Even if I write true, even if I write my name, anything, it is a string. But if I don't use single or double quote, this is a number. Okay, so type of operator is all in lowercase, completely lowercase. Okay, next part. Can I use single quote inside single quote? The answer is no. So if you see, this is a string. Okay, let me create a string like this. Let str equal to say Piyush. Let rather than, okay, I just told you we have to use meaningful variable names. And again, I'm not using a good name. Okay, so this is a meaningful name. Let name equal to Piyush, for example. So this I'm using double quote inside. Can I use double quote inside double quote? The answer is no, because now JavaScript is thinking that this is marking as the end of the string. So what is the purpose of this double quote? The first double quote is the start of the string and the second double quote marks the end of the string. But if I'm using double quote inside double quote, now JavaScript thinks that, okay, looks like this is the end of the string. Then what is it? That is why JavaScript got confused, right? So you cannot use double quote inside double quote, but directly. There is a way for that. We can use something called as an escape character. All we have to do is, I want to tell JavaScript that, hey JavaScript, this double quote is not the ending of a string. This is a part of my string. So I want to tell you this. How do I do? Just use backslash. This is how we can do. But it looks slightly weird to read now because of this backslash. Now you see, this is the starting double quote, this is the ending double quote, but this double quote is treated as if it is a part of the string. Okay, so but this is not really a good idea. Let me share with you how to write a better way. Okay, so let me create another string like this. Let name, same thing. Even for single quote, can I use a single quote inside single quote? The answer is no, because same reason. JavaScript is thinking this single quote as the end of a string, and I have to use this escape character to tell JavaScript, hey, it is not the end of the string. Just treat this single quote as a part of the string. Again, it is slightly unreadable. Better option. How do I do? Simply use single quote inside double quotes like this. Let name equal to Piyush. Yes, inside double quote, I can easily use single quote, not an issue. Again, a single quote, I can use it, works fine. Okay, so I can write this is allowed. Same thing. Now, can I do the same thing for opposite? The answer is yes. If I'm okay, let name one, let me call it name one. So if I use single quote here, single quote here, okay, so if I do this, Piyush. So can I use double quote inside single quote? The answer is yes, without using any escape character. I think this is looking more readable than this. Yes, you can, but using double quote inside double quote, rather than using this, I would suggest avoid it. If you really want to use quote, use single quote, no? Starting double quote, ending double quote, but use a single quote, works fine. Starting single quote, ending single quote, but a double quote inside, again works fine. But single inside single quote or double quote inside double quote, you have to use the escape characters, which makes your string slightly you can say unreadable. And I'm always up for readability. Always make sure your code is more readable. You should be able to understand. Okay, so this is something which is important. And we have something called as, okay, I won't tell you this, I'll ask you, some of you, anyone who can tell me what is the output of this code. Yeah, now is the time to unmute, guys, and tell me what do you think is the output of this code. 9, right? Tell me, guys, what is the output of this code? Quickly, quickly, quickly.
54. 54.
54.
Correct.
54.
Okay, yes. Why? Because I'm using this double quotes here. So the output of this code is 54, but if I want output is 9, then what do? Simply use 5 plus 4 without single or double quote or backticks. So let me just run it and I'll explain you something. So output is 54. So correct. Two people said 54. Perfect. And the output of this one is 9. Now, I hope you remember that I just told you this plus operator is called as binary operator. So why it is binary? Because it has something on the left, something on the right. That is why it is called binary. Now, it can be binary arithmetic or it can be binary concatenation. So this is something which is called as string concatenation. So please write this down, guys. This is called string concatenation. So if there are two strings and if I'm trying to use the plus operator, so JavaScript will see these strings and it simply joins them. Doesn't matter whether it is a number or what. So it is called a string concatenation, or in simple terms, string joining. So 5 and 4 are going to be joined together and this is the output, which is 54. But in this case, when I'm saying 5 plus 4, is it string? The answer is no. So this plus does not act like a concatenation operator. Now it is going to be act like an binary addition operator. Okay, so this plus operator behaves differently. If it sees both the operands are numbers, it adds them. If it sees both the operands as strings, it simply concatenates them. Now I'm going to ask you one interesting question now. What is the output of this code, guys? Double quote 5 plus 4. Is it 9, 54, or what? And why?
It will throw, I think.
54 it has to be, because
It
string
will
is
throw.
considered and then there is a plus, so it will be adding into it.
Okay,
Though it
okay,
is not visible on my screen because it is, lagging. So I
okay,
guess in double quote there is a 5 and plus 4, so it has to be 54.
okay.
I think so.
It will error, I think, because it is a string and it is a number.
Correct. Okay, let me show you. So yeah, but I'm happy that you guys are engaging and talking to me. Very, very important thing, guys. So the answer to this code is it is actually 54. Okay, why the answer is 54? Because here couple of things are happening. Okay, so can JavaScript really add a string with a number? The answer is no, not allowed. Okay, so what can happen is, in this case, either JavaScript need to convert this 5 to a number, or JavaScript can convert this number to a string. So basically string concatenation is happening here. Why is the case? In the case when I'm trying to add string with a number, JavaScript automatically converts 4 into string of 4, and that is why internally JavaScript sees like this. That is why it is giving me the output as 54. But in the case of, okay, if I do something like this, it is going to be slightly different. I'll show you something later on also. Okay, but for now, the answer is what? Let me show you. See, the answer is 1 now, because in this case, we cannot do concatenation. In this case, the string gets converted to a number 5, and then 5 minus 4 is 1, right? So it depends. So if JavaScript sees plus operator, in the case of plus operator, it converts the number to a string. But in the case of negative, multiply, divide, any operator, it converts string to a number. And this particular thing is called as automatic type conversion. And there's a specific name for this, which is called as type coercion. Slightly different name. Even I misspelled the spelling. Yeah, it is called type coercion. Then we have something called as type conversion, which is something I do explicitly. But this type coercion is something that JavaScript does it automatically in this case. So it is, yes, not very readable, right? So we have to be careful with this. Okay, so this is called as automatic type conversion, and this is called as concatenation. This is called as addition. So this plus operator behaves differently. With strings, it concatenates. With numbers, it behaves like a binary operator. Okay, in the case of subtraction, right, this subtraction operator actually does what? It simply converts the string to a number, and then it converts. Okay, so we are going to talk about something which is interesting. So right, so let me do something. So if I do let okay, I remove this comments, not required. Let first name equal to Piyush. Then if I do let last name equal to Gupta. Okay, now if I try to do, I'm going to teach you something a lot of people are not sure. Okay, so this is very important concept. It may look very simple, but it is not. So I'm trying to do what? First name plus last name. So what is happening, guys? Okay, so what is the output firstly? Anyone can tell me? What is the output of this code? Console.log final string. The output would be Piyush Gupta. Quite simple
Full
actually.
name.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because it has concatenated. In this case, it is a string. It is also a string. So this plus is going to act like a concatenation operator, and it is simply going to join the strings. So what happens in the memory part? Okay, in the case of memory, what happens? I have one string in the memory. I have another string in the memory. What am I doing? I'm creating another string in the memory. And I'm going to teach you a concept that I actually learned after so many years, which is called as strings are immutable. Whether it is Java or JavaScript, strings are immutable. So whenever I'm trying to basically do concatenation on a string, right, it creates a new string. Very, very important concept. Please write this down. Whenever we try to perform concatenation on a string, a new string gets created in the memory. Very, very important concept. Because strings are immutable. Can I modify a string in the memory? The answer is no. Right? So I just showed you an example of memory. So where is it? Whiteboard. Yeah. So this is a number. Can I modify it? The answer is yes. I can change from this 10. I can change this 10 to 11. This is allowed. But if this was a string, not allowed. I cannot do this in JavaScript because strings are immutable. Okay, so we cannot change the string. Okay, so in this case, what is happening now? If I'm doing something like this, first name, last name, and final string from the memory point of view. So this is something you should know, guys, what is happening here. Okay, so in the case of memory, so I'm doing what? I'm having one box which is called first name, which is Piyush. I'm having another box called last name. Okay, so I'll write like this. So this is my first name. Okay, so this is my last name. So this has a value of Piyush. This has a value of Gupta. So when I'm trying to do what? First name plus last name. So from the memory point of view, what is happening? Another string gets created in the memory like this. So if this is my memory, right? So I'm creating what? Final string. So this final string is a variable. which is going to contain the value Piyush Gupta. I cannot change this string. I cannot change this string because strings are immutable. So in the memory, how many strings are going to be created now? 3 strings. One is this one, which is immutable. Second one is this, which is also immutable. And I'm creating another string in the memory, which is also immutable. So in memory, total 3 strings are there. 3 strings will be in memory. Nobody teaches this concept, guys, but this is a very, very important question. You should, if you're able to understand this concept, no, anything in script strings you can solve, whether it is Java or JavaScript. A lot of people, you ask them why strings are immutable, they don't know, right? If I try to add a concatenation with the string, why it happens, why it doesn't happen, people don't know. But the most important concept is strings are immutable. Okay, so this is a very important concept, guys, right? And if I try to add one string with a number, the number will be converted to a string. Okay, now, so let me show you a very important coding exercise that a lot of people know by heart, but they really don't understand how it is actually done. Okay, so now let me share with you an example of how to swap the two numbers. So this is my requirement. So swap the two numbers. Very important question. If I ask people, they usually give this scripted answer. We'll have two variables A and B. I'll use a temporary variable and all those things. Fine, but they don't really think why they are saying it. So I'm having a variable let A equal to 10. I'm having another variable let B equal to 20. What is my final output? My final output should be, oops, not this. Let A equal to 20. Let B equal to 10. So basically the value should be swapped. A is 10, B is 20. A should be 20, B should be 10. So in order to really solve this, the best way is, right, suppose if it is asked in an interview, let's say, your interview will be damn impressed if you'll actually show him like this. Draw these boxes in the memory. He will never see such kind of solution like this. Mostly people simply tell the solution, but they never show by the memory diagram. So if this is your A, this is your B, the value of A is 10, the value of B is, oh my God, oh, so it is 20. Now, if I try to do something like this, say, if I try to do A equal to B, what does it mean? It means I'm telling JavaScript that whatever, I hope you remember I just told you this is an assignment operator. In the case of assignment operator, what happens? Whatever is on the right hand side, the value of this variable is going to be taken and stored it inside A. If A already has some value, it is going to be replaced. In this case, what should happen? In this case, the value of A should be replaced with 20. But the problem with this approach is A is now 20, B is also now 20. Is it allowed? No, because I've lost the value of A, right? But I want to swap the values of A and B, right? So before doing this particular activity, before doing this A equal to B, I want to store this value somewhere so that I can do this A equal to B. That is why I'll do something called as, I'll create a temporary variable called temp, and I'll do like this, let temp equal to A, right? This is something that you want to tell your interviewer. Why am I doing this? Don't just give a scripted solution that you have to use a temporary variable. Why? If I'm your interviewer, I want to know why you're doing what you're doing. Don't just give me the solution. Tell me your thought process behind the solution. This is a brilliant thought solution actually, right? So you want to tell, I want to create a temporary placeholder because if I don't do this, let temp equal to A, the value of A would be lost. Okay, so here in the memory, I want to create one more placeholder or one more box. The value of this box is what? Temp. Sorry, the name of this box is temp. The value of this box is, let's say, 10. Why? I'm before doing this A equal to B, right? I'm doing what? Let temp equal to A means take the current value of A and store in temp. That is what I have done. And now I can do A equal to B, right? Because I have stored this value, I've taken this value and stored it somewhere. I can now take this value 20 and replace it with A. Okay, and now what I can do is I can take the value of this 10 and put it inside this box called B. So I can do this. How do I do this? Very simple. I can do what? How do I do it? B equal to temp. This is the right way of telling the solution, guys. Yes, it's the same solution what you might be thinking, but this is not how you must have thought about it. right? If you're going to share this kind of solution, your interviewer is going to be impressed. Okay, he knows that you're actually giving a proper thought process behind it. This is something you want to do, right? So why am I doing it? Because I want to put this value and store in this box. But can I store in this box? Yes, but the original value of 10 will be lost. So before doing this operation, I want to take this value and store it here. Then I can do b equal to a, this part. So right hand side value will be picked and stored it in a, which is 20 now. And now I can take this value called 10, move it and replace with this value of b. So now my a is actually 20, b is now 10, and that is what my problem is solved. This is one solution. Let me share with you another solution.
Piyush,
How
what
do I?
happens if those are not numbers and if they are strings?
In the case of strings, we cannot do this particular kind of thing actually. For strings, there is something else. But for now, we are talking about numbers, and I'm going to show you another solution for this. Basically, I'm trying to develop a thought process. When such kind of problems come, how you should start thinking right. Okay, so in this case, another option is right. So if I'll do this, okay, let me create one more thing. So this is my original requirement. Let a equal to 10, let b equal to 20. Okay, and then what is my final solution that I want to have? I want let not b, because anyways I've declared using let, right? It should only be a equal to 20 and b equal to 10. We can talk about strings also, but for now I'm just talking about numbers. Okay, so this is my original values, this is my final values. Again, I'll draw the memory diagram. With memory diagram, it is so easy to understand and solve any kind of puzzle. So if this is your a is 10, I'm going to draw b. I'm so happy that you guys are not seeing my screen is laggy or something. So b is actually 20. So if I do this 20, now what do I want? Okay, yeah, so a is 10 and b is 20. Now what I'm trying to do is, suppose if I try to do such operations, say a equal to a plus b. Okay, now what do you think should happen? Okay, in this case, if I try to do a plus b, what should happen is, in this case, a and b are going to be added and the value should store with somewhere, right? What is that somewhere? Think about it, guys. Think. It is not difficult actually. So the value is going to be stored somewhere. So a and b are going to be added, which is 10 plus 20, and the final value is going to be stored where? In this variable, which is a, because of this assignment operator. So whatever is there on the right hand side, it is going to be taken and stored into something which is called as a. So 10 plus 20 is going to be added and stored back into a. So what do I do? From the memory, a is no longer 10, it is a plus b, and stored it back into a. So 10 plus 20 is 30. So this is what I do. Okay, what else I can do over here? It is not difficult, not difficult. If you will think about it, you will be able to find out the solution actually. Right, so what is the solution? Think about it, guys. Think about it. Think. It is not difficult. So what I can do over here? Anyone has any solutions here? No? It is quite easy actually. Okay, so if I've done a equal to a plus b, what next I can do? Okay, see, we have to do some hits and trials. I'm doing what? I'm doing a equal to a plus b. So in the memory, a is now 30, b is 20. But eventually I want a should be 20 and b should be 10. So if I do 30 minus 20 and store it in b, right? So if I do b equal to a minus b and do this operation and store this operation value back into b. What is the value of b now? 30 minus 20 is what? 10, right? See, I'm not memorizing the solution. A lot of you will give me this memorized solution. That is not the right way. You do it in the memory like this, right? So 30 minus 20 is what? 10. So now you're going to do what? You're going to store 10 into b now. So this operation is now done. Now, so I think my first thing is done. So b started as 20, but now b is 10. So this part is done actually. Now a is only remaining. What do I do now? It is very simple. Anyone who had never done coding before can easily tell me what we have to do now. Right. So all we have to do is, anyone can tell me? Anyone
Minus
wants to try?
A equals A minus B.
a minus
Exactly.
b. Yeah.
This is how we need to do. So a lot of you will tell me the scripted answer. I'm telling you scripted answer. Why? You know the solution by heart, but you don't know how to know it actually. This is how you need to do. So A equal to A minus B. So 30 minus 10 is 20 and store it back into A. This is how you need to do. So A is now 20, B is now 10. So this is another solution wherein you're not using a temporary or the third variable. So if I'm your interviewer, I'll ask you your thought process. If you'll give me this solution, just this, without drawing the memory diagram, I'll simply reject you. Why? I know that you have just memorized the solution. You have not applied any thought process. You have not applied your brain. That is something you want to do, guys. Right? What if we do such more type of puzzles actually in this course, right? This is something we'll do. And this is going to definitely improve your coding skills, right? So this is how I'm going to teach you guys. Okay. So any questions, anything you would like to ask me? By the way, how was today's class actually, guys? Hopefully there was no lagging actually. So I think now is the time to give you some questions actually. So I've stopped my screen share in case if you're wondering. So I've stopped my screen share. If you have any questions, anything you'd like to ask me, feel free to ask me.
So
Piyush,
class duration will be 2 hours or 1 or 1.5, or it
Okay, so
depends.
the class duration is actually 2 hours because it is a weekend batch. So we have just 2 days, which is Saturday and Sunday.
Okay,
So you
thank you.
have the entire week to practice actually. So yes, today is Sunday. Now we'll be meeting next Saturday. So you have some 5 days in your hand. So you have good amount of time to watch these videos, do practice, do whatever you can. And during this time, if you have some questions still, you can ping me on WhatsApp. It's not like you cannot ping me. You can post on the WhatsApp group. You can ping me on private. Like some people were trying to install Node.js. They were facing some issues. They pinged me, and I gave the solution. Yeah. So you are always welcome. Any further questions, guys?
Piyush, like in the memory concept, right? In Java, we have something like stack memory, heap memory, and all. Do you have
Correct.
some same thing here in?
Same thing we have. At this moment, we are just starting with these concepts. So I didn't kind of confuse the new people, especially who have never done coding before, with these difficult to understand concepts like stack and heap. Yes, we have the same concepts here. Stack is there, heap is there. Slowly, I'll talk about it. But I'm just
Okay, okay.
respecting the new people who have never done, used these concepts before. Yeah, for you, it is simple, but for others, it is not. So I'm not introducing as of now. But yeah, that's a good
Okay.
question.
And
Any more questions?
if you can
Mhm.
if you can share your screen, I had some doubts on line number 90, 91, 92.
Okay, you remember the line numbers also. Very good memory actually. So just give me one sec. Yeah, I'm here. Okay, yeah, please tell me. Line number 90 something.
Yeah, 90 to 92.
Nine. Okay. Yeah, tell me please. What's the doubt?
Those variables, string variables which we have declared,
Hmm.
uh, you are not assigned to any variable, right? The
Okay,
values you are
okay,
not
okay.
assigned to any variable.
Correct. This is just for your understanding. This is how we create a string.
Uh-huh.
This is how we actually
No,
do.
like my question was uh, when you ran the script, it did not give any error. Like where is it
Okay,
actually
okay,
stored and
okay.
how is it stored?
Okay, it is not getting stored anywhere. This is just for your understanding. So, okay, I would have rather commented it out actually. Because if you remember, if I'm running, okay, if I'm selecting this piece of code and if I'm now clicking on the play button, JavaScript is going to ignore everything else. Only the piece of code that I'm selecting is going to be considered. So, okay, so if I just select this piece of code, the output is only 54, not 9. JavaScript is going to ignore this line, ignore everything else. You see, the
Okay.
output is 54. That is the beauty of this code runner. Yes, if I don't select anything, now if I click on the play, everything will be executed. But if I want to selectively run something, then I can select that particular line or a bunch of lines. And now if I run it, I get this output, string and number. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, Vish. And one last question.
Yeah, please.
You had mentioned in previous class like JavaScript we can run in the browser itself, right? Independently
Correct.
without
Correct.
installing anything. So in
Correct.
that case, the variables and all where it will be stored because it is not binding to any system or this thing, right? No RAM and all. In website
Okay.
and all where it will be stored.
Okay. So okay, you're talking about a browser actually, right? Hello.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because in the case of browser has its own execution environment. Like if I told you, right? So I'm on this particular browser. So if I create a variable like this, okay, let me give a simple example. So if I create a variable using the var keyword, say var color to teal, let's say, there's a global object in JavaScript which is called as window. Yeah, this is slightly advanced. Don't worry, people, if you are not able to understand, forget about it. I'm just telling you. So in this case, it is getting stored somewhere here. So do you see something like this color equal to teal? So whatever variables I'm creating using the var keyword, okay, so they are going to stored here. Okay, is it fine?
Here means where exactly?
Okay, so here means this is a global object. So this object that I have shown you here, this is a global object in the browser. Because we have a global object in the browser, we have the same global object in Node.js. So at this moment, which environment I'm into right now? I'm into the browser execution environment. But if I do the same thing over here, I'm no longer in browser. I'm now in Node.js. Node.js means anything outside the browser is called as Node.js.
Okay.
You're getting?
Yeah, not so totally clear, but not
Okay,
really
don't worry.
convinced.
Yeah,
Like in the
yeah.
browser.
So okay, yeah. So what I'll do is like once we'll start moving further, I'll be actually digging more a lot deeper into stack and this heap actually. Okay.
Okay.
So yes, to answer your question for now, both Node.js and browser JavaScript engines use the same fundamental memory model. So even this browser, if you had this question whether we have a stack and heap, is that a question, right? So yes, is that it has its own stack, it has its own heap. This browser, same thing for the Node.js. This is Node.js environment. This is browser environment. Yes, we can run the JavaScript in Node.js, we can run JavaScript in browser also, but the environments are different. And we in both the environments we have a stack, we have a heap. Same thing. To answer your question, but we'll
Okay.
dig.
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so if
yeah,
you don't mind, I would just like to add one line here. Like,
yeah.
if you don't define any kind of memory, so browser
Correct.
itself is having V8 engine. In that,
V8. Correct.
everything whichever we are running, it is in firstly goes into the window. That is, basic concept of the browser, that everything we are showing that is in the window, and then the DOM concept comes of HTML and everything where page is rendering. So if there is nothing is defined, you can see everything under the window when you open that. So you'll be able to see the hierarchy into it. Yeah. So
Absolutely, guys.
just to answer the question of Samiria, I wanted to give some,
Yes,
Thank you, Sangeeta.
lights on that.
that
Yeah.
is a very good way of saying. So, Sangeeta, thank you so much for sharing this. So, I'm really
No
happy
worries.
that so you have some good knowledge, which is very important. And yeah, so one person is actually asking me in the chat, is it we'll have 4 videos per weekend? No, guys, actually it is Saturday and Sunday, right? Because see, if we'll suppose if we try to have one session in the morning, one session in the evening, it is kind of binding together. It is very difficult actually, right? So it's better rather than having one session in the morning, one session in the evening. It's better to have one session only for 2 hours because it is a weekend batch, right? I know like weekday batch is easier slightly. Why? 1 hour of study, but in weekend we have to do study for 2 hours. And I know with this Instagram timing actually, like wherein we are very difficult to focus, I know 2 hours can be a lot, but please bear with me, right? So this is for your good only, right? Because with this knowledge, if you are practicing, you can demand a very good package actually. Okay, so I think 2 months of pain is still okay considering the gain that we can get. So it's all about pain versus gain. So just bear with me for 2 months, guys. Trust me, you're going to love this course actually. Anyway, so we are done. So I'm stopping the recording.